Alright, in this video I want to show you encoder related problems. If you're having any type of encoder related problems, this video should help. The first thing I did with this machine is because it was stuck on wanting to clean. It just said cleaning, it wouldn't let me bypass it, and I have the covers removed, so I didn't want to have to trigger all the sensors. So what I did was I just pulled the battery out. I pulled out the little battery that allowed me to bypass the cleaning. So if you have a problem where you can't get past the cleaning, pull the battery out and you'll be fine. You'll be able to enter service mode. But let's talk about what your scan motor issue could consist of. Number one, the thing I recommend first is clean your encoder strip, which is this clear strip right here. There's a little clear strip right here. That's your encoder. That's what the machine reads to know where it's at. So this clear strip, you can see the screw to the strip right there. This is the encoder strip. You want to clean this really well with alcohol. Do not use solvent cleaner or anything that could damage the sensor or the strip. You can also flip this over if you're having problems. You could take the screws out and flip it the other way. Sometimes that does help, but this is probably the number one cause of scan motor errors is your encoder strip. It's dirty or it just needs replaced. Now the strip is read by a sensor, which is back here. Let's see if I can guide you to it. This little sensor where you see that little red light coming from, that's your encoder sensor. Okay, that's what reads. That's it right there. It's attached by one screw, very easy to replace. But that is the number two culprit. And you can see the red light clearly. That's what does the reading. If you look at your machine and you don't have a red light, then possibly your encoder sensor itself is bad and needs replaced. It's a cheap $30 part. Another thing is the bearings, your rail bearings that go across this rail right here. Sometimes just adding a little 3-in-1 oil can help this out and make the bearings move a little more smoothly. You can see I'm moving this. There's no resistance. You can go back and forth, see if you see feel any snags anywhere. It can also be the bearings on the head carriage itself. But what I like to do first off is test the encoder sensor, make sure the sensor and the strip, make sure it's good. All right, so right now we're in service mode. If you're not familiar with service mode, go ahead and look at my other videos. I'll show you how to get into the service menu. So we're gonna go to menu, service menu, then I'm gonna go down here to, let's see, linear encoder, and I'm gonna hit enter. Okay, it's telling me to lower the pinch roller, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, lower the pinch roller. All right, we're gonna test the encoder, make sure it's reading properly right now. All right, she's gonna go down to the end of the machine. There we go. Now this machine, we just replaced both, so I know it's good. So here we go. You can see it says linear encoder setup completed. Now if this fails, then you likely have a problem. If it fails, then you need to replace the encoder strip or the sensor. The next thing I'm gonna go back to do is my linear calibration. You wanna do this anytime you replace the encoder. Definitely run this test. Here we go. Now it's calibrating itself. It doesn't hurt to do this when you're doing normal maintenance as well. Make sure you're in full calibration. There we go. Again, it's set up completely like it was supposed to. The next thing I like to do is my scan motor aging. So I'm gonna go back to the service menu, and then I'm gonna travel down to the motor menu. All right, so we're gonna go to aging, and I want to test the scan, so I'm going to hit enter, test the scan. And this is going to allow me to see if we're having any type of issues with the bearing, make sure everything goes like it's supposed to. All right, so we are doing the aging right now, making sure everything's good. This machine is good. I'm not going to run into any errors, but you can just run this. I like to run it for 30-40 minutes. Actually, before I sell any machine, I do an aging and let it run and run so that I'm confident that it's not going to bind up or no issues. So it's doing its aging. Another thing I'd like to note, I just had a guy that contacted me about a scan motor error, and all he had to do was run a simple limit initialization, which I have another video on, so make sure you check out that video. Do a limit initialization, make sure that isn't causing your grief. But that's pretty much it when it comes to scan motor errors. Your scan motor is behind the control panel here. You remove the screws and you'll get to the scan motor. Your problem definitely could be the scan motor is bad. It could be that there's too much tension on this wire. I'll go ahead and stop this real quick, show you this wire. The V series, whether it's an SP 540V or 300V, your cut carriage runs on a wire. Okay, there's the wire right there. You can see it. That's the wire. And this needs to be tensioned correctly, and you do that down at this end. There's two little screws that you adjust right here. Let's see, let me get back there real quick, see if I can zoom in. So you can loosen them two screws right here, and then you have to take a Allen wrench to the back, and you really need a tension gauge, but you may have too much pressure or tension. You may not have enough, so if you don't have a gauge, you can just play with it and see if that'll eliminate your errors. Bam, bam. I guess that's pretty much it on scan motor errors. Hopefully this helped you resolve your problem, and see you in the next video.